Welcome, investigator. Evil is on the rise. Crime is escalating. Our mission is to eliminate the crime by exposing evil, examine why it manifests, and highlight the brave souls that confront it every day. Join us as we work together to bring justice to every victim. Welcome to All Things Crime. Here's your host, Jared Bradley.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You got to go to Afghanistan now. I got to tell you this guy's story.
Yeah. All right, Tom. Here's your moment, man. This is your entire life is accumulating right here to tell this story.
Well, let me just preface it by saying this. Very few indeed, if ever, is the local cop from anywhere that gets involved in the kind of stuff that, as a member of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, cops can, and Tom specifically did. And not just get involved in it, but handle it the way he did. And he'll tell the story, but I was kind of a need-to-know basis, and I had retired, and I lost my clearances, and Tom was involved in this, and it wasn't until, a long time after that I heard the story, and I was blown away by, you did what kind of thing? And so this is not your typical cop. I mean, there are special operators and CIA people around the world and Navy SEALs who have these kind of stories because that's their world. But to start out swinging a nightstick on a foot post in Harlem, and then 20 years later, you're involved in this is close to almost unheard of ever for a local cop. So that's why this case is so remarkable. But anyway, take it away because I couldn't begin to encapsulate it.
Well, the whole thing started in November of 2008. I just came into work, and I was actually in the middle of running a very large case at the time of this that I was wrapped up in and all over the country and the world, and not home as it was because of this one case I was running. And came into work, and our supervisory special agent pulled me into his office. He said, "Hey, a New York Times reporter just got kidnapped in Kabul, outside of Kabul in Afghanistan. You need to run this with Jim, another guy on the team." So I went, "Okay, what do you want me to do with, and then I named the case that I was running." He goes, "You have a problem putting that on hold. We got to get this guy, we got to work this case and get him home, and you have to do it." Okay, no problem. So I have to now just re-engage my brain into something I was doing every minute of every day for a couple of years, and put that to the side and start running on this. And Jim and I, talked to the family and got all the information that a New York Times reporter, while he was in Afghanistan to start writing a story, had got grabbed with his interpreter and his guide out of a car by Al-Qaeda affiliated group called the Haqqani Network, who was known for kidnappings. They were very well known for that. So we heard this, we knew the network that was involved in it. And, now we have to have a game plan. And again, like Dan said, this isn't the normal thing. So as I said earlier in your show, Jared, you get these cases that everything you got over your entire career has to get thrown into one basket. And this was it. I have a U.S. citizen's life in my hands that can go wrong at any moment, and he could be on Al Jazeera, in the next hour. So it's working quick. It was working at an absolute rate that I liked because I'm just wired that way. I was comfortable with the tempo of it, of just nonstop go, go, go. And Jim and I came up with a plan that he was going to head to Afghanistan first and get things set up there. We had to be on the ground. We had to be there with the intel community there, the military, and everyone else that was on the ground at the embassy, and get the firsthand accounts of what was going on. So it was my job to stay back for a couple of months and get everyone involved we needed on one page. And that was coordinating the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the military. I had to get all these groups together to have points of contact and everyone under kind of one roof to run all the information we were getting at this time, which took a lot. But again, it was not really thinking about it. Just, hey, this has to get done. Not the enormity of it. Just a matter of day by day doing what we needed to do. And we got, the groups together. We were getting really good intel, and NSA coverage and agency reporting was really, really good. So that went on for a certain amount of time, but we weren't getting any real firsthand intel of where he was or even if he was still alive. We were getting reporting from the bad guys. Yeah, he's fine. We got him, but that doesn't mean anything. So it was my turn to head to Afghanistan, and it was going to be somewhere in the vicinity of a 3-month hit that I was going to be there. So actually, I get asked this a lot, like, hey, you're a New York City detective. What the hell, what are you going to do in Afghanistan? And I didn't really look at it that way. I said, I have to look at this as just a crime, and I'm going to investigate a crime. I was comfortable with my tactics and what I was done, so I wasn't like fearful to go there. My anxiety was getting it done, not where I was going. If that makes any sense. I really didn't put any thought into where I was going. So on the plane over there, I actually sat, sitting there and I said, okay, now it's my game. Now the ball's in my court. I have to play this the way I want to, regardless kind of what, if anything, Jim has done. And Jim and I kind of overlapped, and he was there for a certain amount of time, and we shared notes and got contacts in common that I had. But once I got there, the one main thing that kind of broke it was I said, I need a source. I need a source on the ground that knows everything that's going on. And I kind of had this narcotics thought in my head. That's what I would do in narcotics in the Bronx. So I'm going to do it here. And I got together with the agency, and they had a list of kind of, okay, we got this guy, and they were all kind of in the terrorism realm. And I said to him, I don't want a terrorist. I don't trust terrorists. I want a criminal. Who's the worst criminal you have in this country? That's who I want to talk to, because I'll trust a criminal. I don't trust terrorists. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I can trust a criminal because I know exactly what I'm going to say to him. So it got worked out, and I got hooked up with, I developed a source who was the number one heroin dealer in the country. He was John Gotti of Afghanistan, and the number one heroin dealer that produced the heroin going around throughout the world. So I said, okay, perfect. I'm in. So they're like, all right, wait, do you understand? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. No problem. And we got in touch with him. We met. I had to fly down to Kandahar, which is the southern part of Afghanistan. With now my partner, Jim had left. I got another guy, Jim. So it was Jimmy. We went down there and we met him. And he showed up in, just like you would see in a movie, in his entourage of SUVs, and the dirt's flying all over the place, and this array of cars are coming. And he showed up, and we talked, and me and him hit it off like it was great. Because I explained to him, I said, listen, I don't care what you're doing here. I don't care what your background is. I don't care. I'm not here for you. I could care less how much heroin you're dealing. I don't care. What I care about is finding this guy. And he went, okay, you're being truthful. I like that. We kind of fist bumped. He goes, okay, I understand. So that set the tone of anything I wanted, he got for me. And we did. And it drove the agency crazy because he hated the agency and he got along with me. So I had a blast going back to them, telling them we had lunch and we talked. And he doesn't do that with us. I go, because he doesn't like you. So, I went to Dubai with him to visit his mother in the hospital. And that's because I felt that's where I had to be to get the complexity of this case, to get what I needed. I had to be like that. And we ended up getting the first proof of life video, out of him. So we got video of him being alive, which set everybody, blood pressure went down a little bit and started breathing, and he's actually alive. And we ended up getting 2 more. And working, while I was over there, like Dan said, when you're a detective or a cop walking on a corner by yourself, you just want to make it through the night. And now here I am in Afghanistan working with a Navy SEAL team and the agency and a bunch of other people over there that don't even have names. So it ends up, we worked out what we needed to. The source was a big help, and we ended up getting them out, safely. It worked out. Everything that we were hoping for worked. We were able to get him out. That I can't get into even still. But the main thing was we got him home, and driving him home from the airport when he finally arrived in New York and pulling up to his apartment. And he got out of the truck we had, and he got out and kissed the sidewalk in front of his building. Made it all worthwhile. However, the length of time I was away from home, the couple of real close calls we had in Afghanistan, which were really hairy, one really in particular, it all made it worthwhile, when he got home. And then make it even more, I got a card from him and his wife a few months later in the mail that they were expecting their first child and thanking me for helping out with making that happen. So you have these cases that are memorable, and like Dan said, I had a part in it. There were so many people working on this. Did I coordinate it a little? Yeah, okay. But there were a lot of hands in this that did tremendous work. And it's good. The NYPD, not sounding anything, but the NYPD is the NYPD. And when you show up somewhere and you have that shield, it means a lot. People look at it and go, okay, I don't care what level I am in the agency, I'm going to listen to this guy. So that helped. It wasn't, oh, you're a cop, I'm this. You're going to listen to me. Even the guys on the teams were like, okay, what do you need? Where are we looking? What do we need to look for? So that made everything much easier to work. There was no, all right, let me prove myself that I know what I'm doing. It was on the ground. You are who you are. Let's get going. So that made it a lot easier. But, it was one of those cases I was happy to be involved with. It was an experience like no other being over there. And thankfully, it all worked out at the end.
Wow.
So a great case, but Tom, I just got to ask, does your wife, Ange, have any idea that you were thanked for your part in helping his wife get pregnant? That can be taken a lot of different ways.
No, I think I just read the card to her. That was about it.
Yeah, you know what? We got questions here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for helping my wife become pregnant. That's a weird card to get, but okay.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully that's not framed on your wall, right?
No.
Tom gave you the Reader's Digest version of the case in the interest of time, but there are some instances in it. He talks about some hairy encounters, man. Yeah. I mean, the kind of stuff the average person would still be quaking in their boots years later. But yeah, amazing.
Well,
amazing
being surrounded by a team of Navy SEALs probably helped, but
no,
actually, at that moment, no.
I mean, listen, if you got 5 minutes, I'll tell you the story real quick. I don't want to take up too much.
No, go ahead.
We were coming back from a meeting, me and Jimmy. Now, Jimmy was a former Ranger, great guy. We had an agreement. Just to give you a little background, we had a real brother agreement that under no circumstances were we going to be kidnapped. Under no circumstances. Now, not being a tough guy, I do not mean it like this, but if we happen to die in a hail of gunfire, so be it. No one's grabbing us, to do whatever they want to do to us. That's not happening. And we had a staunch agreement. That's what our deal was. So we're coming home. We're coming back, heading back to the embassy, and we make a turn around a corner and end up getting surrounded by about 10, 15 guys with AK-47s. They stopped the car. So we're armed. I have an M4 right between my legs. Jimmy's armed. We're covered what we have. And the biggest part of that was we both were calm. So he's dealing with one guy that's screaming at him at the driver's side window. So it's getting to an uncomfortable point that nothing, this isn't going well. So I took a real quick snapshot that no one was behind me on the passenger side. Everyone was kind of from the front of the truck on that side. So I put my back against the window, the door and the window, so I could face Jimmy and see him and see the guy he's dealing with. And it got to a point where the guy reached into the car and grabbed the steering wheel. And I told Jimmy, nice and calm, I hit the safety off my M4, said, move your head. And he didn't say, wait, nothing. All he did was lean back in his seat. And the guy saw that and I started to raise my gun, and he let go of the steering wheel, and I told Jimmy, hit it. He floored it. We ran over one guy. Sorry. I jumped in the back seat and kind of laid down in the back seat, waiting for them to start shooting at us, and they didn't, and we got out of there. So while we're driving away, I yelled to Jimmy from the back seat, I guess we're not in the Bronx anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Let's not minimize the potential of violence in the Bronx. I'm just saying.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
You
No,
get surrounded by guys with 9mm, not
Yeah.
That'd be the only difference.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's absolutely incredible. Man, we could just sit here and talk all day about experiences like this. And I just can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing some of your experiences. It's amazing. You guys, my hat's off to you. Not only are you've done your duty, and you served your NYPD in New York for a lot of years, did a lot of amazing things, but you're still doing it. So for those of you that are out there that have enjoyed this, make sure to go to Gold Shields and subscribe to their. You guys are on YouTube.
Yep.
I'm assuming you're on Spotify and everything else.
Yes.
We're on every audio channel. Some we don't even realize we're on. So we're on every audio channel, and we're on YouTube and Rumble.
Yeah, there you go. So pretty much anywhere you can find the Gold Shields and listen to more of these guys' story. Definitely support them. And man, fantastic. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much, Jared.
Yeah. All right.
It's been a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate
you.
The
pleasure's all mine. You guys, we'll see you down the road.
All the best, brother.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thanks for joining us. Your attention today brings us one step closer to exposing and eliminating the evil that brings crime to our communities. Hit subscribe and share this episode. Together, we will bring justice to every victim.